Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. The Sicilian defense controls the d4 square with c-pawn. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center to prepare for a d4 pawn push, where the knight will recapture if black captures on d4. d6 opens up the light-squared bishop and prevents white from pushing the pawn to e5 after black eventually plays knight f6. d4 offers to trade the d-pawn for the c-pawn, giving up a center pawn for more active pieces. c takes d4 gives black 2 central pawns versus 1 central pawn for white. Knight takes d4 recaptures the pawn and activates the knight in return for having 1 central pawn versus black's 2 central pawns. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. Knight c3 defends the e4 pawn and starts to develop on the queen side. e6 controls the d5 and f5 squares and allows the dark squared bishop to develop. Developing your bishop strengthens your opening setup. This activates a bishop by developing it off of its starting square. It's critical to develop your pieces as early as possible in the game. Castling gets the king out of the center of the board, while developing the bishop and increasing influence in the center. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. That move leaves your bishop undefended and free to take. This overlooks an opportunity to capture a vulnerable bishop. Oops, you gave up a bishop. That was a free bishop. Your rooks can work together now. This mobilizes the knight, allowing it to control more of the board. You're kicking their knight out of a useful square. This is an equal trade. Recapturing. This permits the opponent to force an isolated pawn. You are forcing your opponent to isolate a pawn. Takes back. You missed an opportunity to take an open file with a rook. This is the only good move. This evades the check from the queen. Your piece makes sure the opponent's pawn cannot move. This overlooks an opportunity to offer an equal trade of pieces. You missed a better way to move a queen to safety. This offers an equal trade of pieces. You overlooked an opportunity to win a tempo by threatening a bishop. This overlooks an opportunity to move a bishop to safety. Nice, definitely the right move. This permits the opponent to eventually win a rook. This is the way to win a rook. This leads to losing a queen. Your rook eyes the open file, which helps control critical squares. This evades the check from the rook. You're still on the road to checkmate. This evades the check from the queen. You continue the checkmate attack. This blocks the check from an opposing rook. Nice vision spotting and capturing that vulnerable knight. You are threatening to force eventual checkmate. This allows the opponent to force eventual checkmate. Your opponent has no escape. You can force a checkmate with the correct moves. This wins a queen. This blocks the check from an opposing rook. You continue the checkmate attack. This evades the check from the knight. You're still on the road to checkmate. This steps away from the checking queen. You continue the checkmate attack. This steps away from the checking rook. Your move gets closer to checkmate. Nice vision spotting and capturing that vulnerable queen. Recaptures. You're still on the road to checkmate. This misses a better way to evade the check from the opposing rook. You missed the quickest checkmate, but the game is still yours. This steps away from the checking rook. You're continuing down the road to checkmate. This is the way to win a pawn. You continue the checkmate attack. This evades the check from the rook, getting closer to the forced checkmate. This steps away from the checking rook. You're still on the road to checkmate. This evades the check from the queen. You did it. Nice checkmate.